to give today has the long title that you heard, and we call it Underground Web Ministry within the post-communist matrix. Hence the background that's moving, and I'm going to change it in a minute. If you're a web guy, I know this is bothering you very much. But let me start with the introduction. The Internet is the place where ideas are being expressed freely, as far as we know. It is the place where ideas are being exchanged, some being supported, others rejected. And it has become the evangelism avenue for the Christian mission of the 21st century. But how do you use the Internet when the government is watching you every step, checking your emails before you wake up, listening to your cell phone while you are talking, and recording your Skype conversations at large, while having free access to your servers and the power to place on them files, hijacking applications, and much more, as well as changing some of the contents or even deleting completely whole hard drives, erasing forever many years of hard work. No, I'm not talking about America. And before I'm accused of some new conspiracy theory, let me clarify that this is the very context in which we do web ministry in post-communist Eastern Europe, and therefore we often define it as underground web ministry. So while this presentation may not surprise you as a technological accomplishment, I hope that it brings a different perspective on our common goal of spreading the gospel. That's why in the next few minutes I'd like to first inform you of the state of the Bible technologists in post-communist Europe, using as a case the country of Bulgaria and one of our websites. Then I'd like to bring to your attention some of the problems that we're experiencing there, hoping to raise the awareness of some of the ways your work may be used in that context. And finally, I will attempt to challenge your imagination, to cross the border of a natural state of thinking, and to begin reimagining the concept and the scope of your work in a different context, in the post-communist context. Before I go any further, let me begin with a brief introduction of the country of Bulgaria, right there on the bottom right for you. Located in southeastern Europe, bordering the Black Sea between Romania and Turkey. A population of 8 million lives in an area of approximately 43,000 square miles, which is slightly smaller than the state of Tennessee. Bulgaria accepted Christianity as its official religion in 864 during the reign of King Boris. Christian faith spread rapidly through the land, reviving spiritual, economical, and political life, and setting the stage for the golden century of Bulgarian culture. Unfortunately, in 1396, Bulgaria fell under Ottoman occupation, which lasted some 500 years. During these dark centuries, the Eastern Orthodox Church had a significant role in the preservation of the Bulgarian culture and Christian faith. Meanwhile, Protestantism was building a strong foundation for the reformation of Bulgarian culture, as British and American missionaries discovered Bulgaria in the beginning of the 19th century. When Bulgaria was liberated from Muslim occupation in 1878, the role of both Orthodox and Protestant churches remained in the background of rapid political, economical, and cultural changes. While serving as the Christian foundation for the rebuilding of the Bulgarian state toward the beginning of the 20th century, while modernity was entering the Balkans and the Balkan states of the Balkan Peninsula. Having fought on the losing side in both world wars, Bulgaria fell within the Soviet sphere of influence and became a People's Republic in 1944. The established communist regime proclaimed liberty and solidarity while limiting human rights and religious freedom. The new laws demanded confirmation with government policy from all religious denominations, and the churches which failed to comply were severely persecuted, properties were confiscated, pastors were imprisoned, and religious activities were banned. With the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, Bulgaria began the process of moving toward political democracy and the market economy while combating inflation and employment and crime. Over 1 million Bulgarians between the ages of 18 to 45 have left Bulgaria in the past 15 years to study, work, and live in another country. After being accepted as a member of NATO in 2004, Bulgaria was integrated into the European Union in 2007. The economical, political, and social changes forced change within the Bulgarian evangelical movement as well. Back in 1989, let's say, evangelicals in Bulgaria counted to some 5,000 people, with no more than 100 churches, which did their entire ministry with 2 Bulgarian versions of the Bible and 1 printed concordance. That was it. Today, the movement has grown to some 1,200 churches with over 150,000 members, demanding solid discipleship training based on dependable ministry materials. But the greatest transformation which we're witnessing is the change in mentality toward freedom, which in turn is producing a change in the paradigm of ministry. The pulpit is not just in the church anymore, but built in the screen of every computer, TV, cell phone, PDA device. As a friend of mine says, if we can put it in the microwave screen, we will. John Wesley once said, "The world is my parish," and we can agree 100% with him today as we say that our parish is the World Wide Web. Now a little bit about our work. We're a Christian ministry which focuses on the evangelism within and without the church, using parachurch paradigms that are proven to work in a post-communist context. Very early in our work, we found out that there is a need for Bible study aids and church learning materials for our ministry that was simply not available at that time. We had to get them from somewhere. Central in this was the text of the Bible and the need for its electronic publishing at that time. In 1996, we produced the first electronic Bulgarian Bible. It was the 1940 revision of the Bulgarian Bible. Not a very dependable translation, but that's what we had. Communication network between evangelical churches in Bulgaria, especially in organizing events, also became an essential element in our work. And these were our humble beginnings. The text of the Bible placed on BibleTech.com, our main website, a Bulgarian website dedicated exclusively to the Bulgarian Bible. Simple search engine that did some quickly referencing there on the website, but at least it replaced the printed concordance, so it was not very accurate to begin with. Email list, which grew into Yahoo at first and then Google Group. A site forum, lots of publication, news, sermon aids, song lyrics, Bible-related study topics, and so on. Later on, we added a Bible dictionary and a complete Bible commentary in the Bulgarian vernacular. The second level of our development was the software development. We produced a simple desktop program called Cross Bible, which motivated many others, like back in the day Theophilus and the SWORD project, Bible Sword and so on, to release their own Bulgarian versions. Soon came the wireless era, and our team produced Bulgarian Bible applications for cell phones and handhelds written predominantly in Java and Symbian. One of the greatest creations was the Bible verse sent directly to the user's cell phone every morning around 9 a.m. We've been doing this since 2003. The idea was to begin the day with a word from the Bible. But it was soon proven that the majority of users subscribing to the service preferred not to be waking up around 7 a.m. So we had to clear it up about 9. Actually, we had it at 11, but that also wasn't good on Sunday. Pastors were complaining while they're preaching their messages. Their parishioners are getting Bible verse that's not in accordance with the sermon. And then the limitation of 160 symbols per SMS also didn't help. Anyway, about that time we were able to record and made available online free of charge the first Bulgarian audio Bible. Complete first the New Testament and then the whole Bible. It took the guy that recorded it almost 2 years. Websites. By 2005, our main website, BibleTech.com, part of it seen there on the screen, had become the leading Christian web portal in Bulgaria. The surges to begin our annual National Bible Tour, that's what we called it, for which we introduced new products and services. And it was then that we began realizing the effect our work had on Bulgarian Christians. The website was well known, feedback was very much available, and there were so many ideas that we needed a larger team. We built our team to 64 people today in the past few years. And this encourages us to envision a new level of ministry through the creation of a network of websites covering various aspects of Christian ministry. As the project evolved, we reached a number of 24 active Christian websites in the Bulgarian vernacular, serving as predominant training sources for both church and individual believers in Bulgaria. There are some of them. I'm going to start very quickly from the top left. Pastor.org, which is a website for pastors. Next one, Bulgarian Protestant History, a website dedicated to that. The next one, Chaplaincy website. Point of View is a political platform from a Christian standpoint, for Christians, of course. Next one is a praise and worship video and audio website. The following one, properwitted.net, is dedicated exclusively to sermons and sermon aids, again with audio and video. Molitva.com, which basically means the prayer in Bulgarian, is a website for prayer requests, and very active one with a lot of testimonies as well. Evangelsku Info is our news website. Lidersku Info is dedicated to church leadership. Next one, exclusively dedicated to the biblical doctrine of holiness. The next one, evangelium.com, based on our new translation of the New Testament, which we're working on at this time. The other one, pisarca.com, is a church hymnal website. And some of you may say church hymnal. Yes, we have it online right now as we speak. And one song per day with the annotations that are very popular already. And finally, BibleTech TV, which is the case for our study today, a GodCube-like project. They changed their name, of course, but Christian YouTube website, exclusively for Christian videos. In all this, the focus remained on the text of the Bible, and we never forgot this. We produced an online parallel of some 20 different Bible versions, 5 of which are Bulgarian, 2 were included in the BibleWorks software. Actually, the second one just this in version 8.0, I think, which just came out. 2 were included in BibleWorks and consecutively printed. And then our own literal interlinear translation from Nest Allen, 27th revision, and then whatever's available from the 28th edition, which hasn't published officially yet, but there's some notes out. Our methodology included these following 7 things. Teamwork. How else do you eat an elephant? Except if you have a good team. Everything is free of charge, and this has been our constant requirement for everyone that participates in our work. The focus on the Bible that I already mentioned has always been preserved in our work. Feedback, especially for the national tour, the national Bible tour that we're doing in different churches and youth camps, that basically keeps us in touch with all the people that are using our products. Aiding churches and ministries, which builds the relationship with churches and building strong relationships with people. And of course, much prayer and fasting. I know that this may not be the most common characteristic for web ministry, but in our case it's very much needed. And you'll see in just a minute why. All the work done in the past 13 years has raised awareness among the Bulgarian churches and individual Christians that this is not just a website, but a pulpit from which we can preach. Because when a community grows from self-awareness to self-identity, it has already become a movement. And inevitably, in the post-communist context, when a community like ours grows to the realization of its identity as a movement, it gains political awareness, in which our team quickly realized that the result of motivating a movement is nothing less than leadership. What we didn't know is that our leadership motivation was about to be tested. For any time there is a revival of Christian movement, there is a resistance against it. And the size of the resistance defines the effectiveness of the movement itself. While communism failed with the Berlin Wall in 1989, it never left Eastern Europe. It still remains there. The old law enforcement structures continued to exist under the new democracy, and when the internet industry settled permanently in the Bulgarian culture in the mid-90s, it became not only the center of marketplace and political discussions, but also an open venue for secret police watch, still undefined, remaining undefined by constitutional boundaries. Block censoring and arrests of bloggers who advertise government protests is a common thing in Bulgaria. Professional government agents trained to penetrate website forums is also an everyday occurrence. We first noticed recording of our website activities and the presence of government watchers around the year 2000. When after 5 years of hard work, our websites began gaining speed and popularity. The first open discrimination occurred in 2003 when we started our Bible verse via text message service. And immediately after that, just a few days later, at least 3 of our servers were banned, blocking our Bible verse service because of its religious content, not for any other reason. Since then, we have acquired a number of working skills like scripting the sending application to send batches of 5 messages every few seconds instead of dumping the whole several thousand queue on their SMS server of the cell phone provider. Also, we have developed this diplomatic relationship with every new marketing director of the cell phone provider, which has allowed us to freely deliver Bible verses to several thousand subscribers every morning. Several years later, When we began the Bulgarian Chaplaincy Association, and one of the websites deals exclusively with chaplaincy, the government methods have changed. I was personally going to the Minister of Justice of the Bulgarian state for questioning and interrogation. In 2007, we had similar experience when we decided to have our annual X event for youth, which we do every year, at the Sea Garden in the city of Burgas, which is on the Black Sea in Bulgaria. Again, last year in 2008, when we called the X event at the heart of Bulgaria, the geographical center of the country located in the Balkan Mountain, constantly having problems with gaining a permit for holding the event because of its religious content. Time after time, we were denied permission to hold activities on the ground of this content, although it's not constitutionally defined. When in the fall of 2008, we announced our online TV project, the BibleTech TV website, the Bulgarian language GodTube-like site, the government response was more than obvious. About a month after we launched the website, we noticed a folder on our main server placed without our knowledge or our consent. That folder contained a copy of the official website of the Bulgarian National Intelligence Service. It was obvious all our websites resolved to the same IP as the NIS, which in Bulgarian internet community simply means that we have allowed the NIS to track our users and visitors. Naturally, raised a question, actually raised more than a question. Several hours after asking the hosting provider about the case, our servers were shut down without warning. The machine was not launched back until we were called for negotiation, which was basically an interrogation. We stood our ground, which led to a second halting of the service several days later, again without warning. This time, all the information on it, the result of some 3.5 years of hard work, was permanently deleted. No explanation offered. Fortunately, we had an up-to-date backup of the information, and when the provider gave us a replacement of the machine, we were able to restore the information quickly. Little we knew that the new IP of the new machine was previously used by another political party in Bulgaria, and their web team was not notified of the changes. It looked like we have hacked their machine and placed our websites on it. While the hosting service was fixing the issue, it took them several days, like it doesn't take an hour to replace a DNS record. Google cached the DNS, and it all went down to history, while we went in the middle of a political scandal. To stop all this, we had to change the co-location host and launch a strategy to take the websites outside of the country of Bulgaria if the problem persists. The reason we have them in Bulgaria to begin with is because all Bulgarian ISPs, internet providers, basically have a fiber wire in between them, which makes them almost like a local connection. They don't actually go on the internet. It's an in-country connection, and the speed is tremendous. So for transferring video and audio, this is the best way to go. That's why we keep them there. Most of our users are in Bulgaria. But why a Christian video website would be treated as a national threat? Why would it remain in the focus of the National Intelligence Service? Because of its effectiveness to organize and to lead. Less than a month of its stable release, BibleTech TV had several thousand registered users who were watching and uploading personal and church videos virtually 24 hours a day. In the first month of the website alone, we had higher volume of visitors than the viewers on our Christian TV channel in its peak. Preaching from various churches was published and was watched in Bulgaria as well as by Bulgarian immigrants abroad. Number of Christian art and drama videos from GodTube were replayed by Bulgarian youth groups and published on the website virtually in the same week where they came to our website, creating a context in which personal formation and art development was motivated among young people in Bulgaria. Since many videos were in English, language learning received a boost as well. The website became a major communication network for churches, announcing their special services, conferences, concerts, and other events. And most important, the website gave opportunity for churches to broadcast their services live. The server has capability of 20 live broadcasts at the same time, which basically turned it into an alternative Christian television for Bulgaria. Well, in this case, providing BibleTech resources in post-communist context answers the question about the effectiveness of such ministry, and this answer is leadership. We don't just create applications, We don't just write code. We don't just administer websites. We lead people. This position of leadership demands certain responsibilities. I have summed up these 8 simple rules for BibleTech creators about your product, our products, being used in a post-communist context. I'll go over them as quick as I can. First of all, people in post-communist context need it. They need your product. It's as simple as that. There is no doubt that Christians in a post-communist context need Bible technologists for their Christian walk, their ministry. Second of all, they cannot afford it. A copy of Bible words that costs about $600 to $700 equals annual income in some areas in Bulgaria. They cannot afford it. Number 3, although they cannot afford it, they will get it, which raises the question of copyright, and I'm prepared to answer your questions at the end about that. But this is the facts. Please understand the mentality here. When you have people, a group of people, who have not stopped believing in God and doing their ministry under the communist persecution, sometimes under the threat of imprisonment and death, they will not be stopped by a copyright notice. Number 4, they will be watched and even persecuted for using that software. I cannot emphasize greater on this point here. Imagine a situation in which a Christian minister in Eastern Europe is imprisoned for using a Bible software he could not afford on the basis of the copyright which the Bible software manufacturer has established in order to make this software available to Christian ministers. Number 5, nevertheless, regardless of these obstacles, they will be inspired. As it is true that ideas do have consequences, their imagination will be inspired, which will change their perspective and mentality. It will free and deliver. Number 6, this inspiration will transform them completely. It will transform first their understanding. It will transform their ministry. It will transform the church, the society, the world around them. Inevitably, this will be followed by transformation in their own identity. And most important, it will transform their spiritual heritage, which will guarantee a new generation of Christians in a post-communist context. You see the cycle that I'm trying to describe. Number 7, this transformation will motivate them to create similar products, services, and paradigms in their own ministry. This is exactly what we're doing. And number 8, finally, this whole process will have a definite impact on your work, and a positive impact, that is, just like this presentation here today. And this is powerful. This whole process is more than powerful. For we don't just build websites. We don't just program applications. We don't just make software. Don't just code scripts, procedures, and objects. We lead toward transformation. The challenge in our work in the post-communist matrix, therefore, is to give a chance and an opportunity through creating the proper context, to communicate partnership and to create network, to preserve and protect a Christian culture, through providing every individual believer in church with the necessary resources. Let me say this in conclusion. For us who lived in the last days of communism in communist Bulgaria, the fall of the wall was a miracle. Coming out from the severe communist persecution and surrounded by the Balkan Wars, the country of Bulgaria experienced a time of liberation which gave the start of a spiritual revival. In the midst of extreme poverty due to the prolonged crisis in economics and politics, this revival became an answer for many. It also provided a sense of liberation, but not just in the political understanding of democracy and freedom, but rather liberation toward the realization of a kingdom which is much higher, much better, and in a way more realistic than any human imagination. The liberation from sin then turned not only into a social movement, but as a theological conception it provided an alternative to the existing culture, thus becoming a reaction against the surrounding context and proposing a new theological model, a new paradigm for life itself based on substantial faith and belief. And in this post-communist, ever-changing, and ever full with unexpected context, God has called us to minister to eternal human souls in every possible way. For we don't just build websites. We don't just program applications. We gather an abundant harvest for the eternal, everlasting kingdom.